Cars versus trains. Hello everyone, and welcome to the 26th episode of our English learning series. Today, we are going to talk about something we all do: travel. When we want to go from one place to another, from one city to another, we have to make a choice. How should we travel? Two of the most common ways to travel overland are by car and by train. Both cars and trains can take you where you want to go, but they offer very different experiences. Each one has good points and bad points. Today, we will compare them. We will look at the advantages and disadvantages of traveling by car and traveling by train. Let's begin. The first and maybe the biggest difference is freedom and flexibility. A car gives you an amazing amount of freedom. When you travel by car, you are the driver. You are in control. You can start your journey whenever you want. You do not need to follow a schedule. If you want to leave at 7 a.m. or 10 a.m., it is your choice. You can go from your front door directly to your destination's front door. You can also stop whenever you like. If you see a beautiful view, a nice restaurant, or an interesting town, you can simply stop your car and explore. A car gives you complete flexibility. A train is much less flexible. Trains run on a fixed schedule. You must arrive at the train station before the train is planned to leave. The train follows a fixed route on its tracks. It only stops at designated train stations. You cannot ask the driver to stop because you saw a pretty field of flowers. Your journey is planned for you from one station to another. Next, let's talk about comfort and relaxation. Traveling by car, especially if you are the driver, requires a lot of focus. You must always watch the road, pay attention to other cars, and follow the traffic rules. Driving for many hours can be very tiring. It can also be stressful, especially if there is a traffic jam or if the weather is bad. You cannot read a book, watch a movie, or take a nap while you are driving. Traveling by train is usually much more relaxing. Once you find your seat on the train, your work is done. You can sit back and relax. You can read your favorite book, listen to music, work on your laptop, or simply look out the big window and watch the world go by. The seats on a train are often bigger and more comfortable than car seats. You also have the freedom to stand up, stretch your legs, and walk around. You can walk to another car, go to the cafe to buy a drink, or use the restroom easily. Another important point is speed and time. For short distances, a car can sometimes be faster. This is because a car journey is door to door. You do not need to travel to a station and wait. However, for longer distances between big cities, a car can be slow. The speed of a car depends on speed limits, the type of road, and most importantly, traffic. A big traffic jam can add hours to your journey. Trains, especially modern high-speed trains, can be incredibly fast. A train does not get stuck in traffic. It moves at a constant, high speed for most of the journey. For a trip between two major cities that are far apart, a train is often much faster than driving the same distance in a car. You also know exactly when you will arrive. Let's also compare the cost. The cost of traveling by car can be complex. You have the cost of the car itself, plus insurance and maintenance. For a single trip, you must pay for fuel, which can be expensive. For one person traveling alone, driving can cost more than a train ticket. However, if you are traveling with a group, like your family or 3 or 4 friends, the car becomes much cheaper. You all share the cost of the fuel. It is usually cheaper than buying 4 or 5 separate train tickets. With a train, the cost is simple. You just buy a ticket. For a person traveling alone, the train is often the cheaper option. But as we said, if a large family is traveling, buying a ticket for every person can add up and become more expensive than driving one car. What about the view and the experience? When you are in a car, your view is of the road. You see highways, other cars, and the towns and cities you drive through. The experience is about being on the road and having the freedom to stop. When you are on a train, the view can be very different and often more beautiful. Train tracks are not always next to roads. They often go through the heart of the countryside. You might travel through green valleys, over high bridges with rivers below, or even through tunnels in mountains. You can see beautiful landscapes that are impossible to see from a car. The experience is about watching the scenery change from a comfortable seat. Finally, let's think about the environment. Cars have a big impact on the environment. A single car usually carries only 1 to 4 people, and it produces pollution from its engine. When there are millions of cars on the roads, it creates a lot of air pollution. Trains are much more environmentally friendly. A single train can carry hundreds of people at the same time. The amount of pollution per person is much lower than traveling by car. If you want to choose the greener option, the train is almost always the better choice. In conclusion, both cars and trains are great ways to travel, but they are best for different kinds of trips. Cars are perfect for freedom, flexibility, and for traveling to places that do not have a train station. They are also good for families or groups on a budget. Trains are perfect for relaxing, stress-free travel, especially over long distances. They are often faster, better for the environment, and offer beautiful views of the countryside. The choice depends on your journey. Where are you going? Who are you traveling with? Do you want speed and relaxation, or freedom and adventure? Answering these questions will help you choose the best way to travel for your next trip.